We're live.
All right, welcome. What's up?
Yeah, bitch, have I died, man.
Hey, Luke, I'm going to New York in 2 weeks, man.
Oh, really?
3 weeks. Man.
Oh, really? What you doing there?
I was just gonna, I don't know, hang out.
It's the most wonderful time of the year there.
That's why I'm going.
You should see a UCB show.
I don't know what that means. Is that like a?
Upright Citizens Brigade improv comedy.
Is it pretty funny?
It's hysterical. If you go, you will like it a lot. Or you hate it.
Lol.
Right.
But you will freaking love
You know
it.
what's crazy? What I want to do, and nobody else is really on this bandwagon, is
And tickets are $5.
Mike Birbiglia.
Yeah.
He's got a like 14-day Broadway show.
Oh yeah. At
Deuce Bigelow Magic.
at Caroline's.
Is that what you said?
No.
That
Mike
would,
Birbiglia.
that would
Yeah.
be.
Dude, if you haven't
that'd be
seen his
awesome.
Netflix specials,
I haven't seen it.
they are probably, I don't know if I could rank any other stand-up comedy routines ahead of it.
Oh wow.
Except for that girl from Australia. I thought she was amazing. But hers is more like a
So Mike, Deuce Bigelow, Magic.
Mike Deuce Bigelow. All right, let's go.
Hold on.
Just so we can have
Hey, I'm going to talk about like straight
I'm going
up
to have to
at
get
the
up at some
beginning.
point, wake my son up too. So, Luke, you're going to have to carry the pod.
Okay. I'll carry it. Like a little baby.
Lock up, baby.
Like a little
Dude, Mike Myers was on
Like
Jimmy
a
Fallon a
little
couple weeks ago.
baby. Yeah. Dude, he's hysterical.
Still so funny.
He's so funny, and he's we just haven't had a big love guru. Is a racist movie, but it also just ruined his self-confidence, I feel like.
Yeah, so I read that, and then I also read that part of it was also he just was like, I don't really want to do anything right now.
Yeah.
He's got all the money in the universe.
That's true. And so I guess he's done Shrek. Well, I don't know when Shrek.
Shrek
he's
5 or whatever.
Yeah. But there was a while where he was like, he'd do something creative every day. And so every day he painted a picture of the Colonel from Kentucky Fried Chicken.
What?
And I think that's wild. Like,
He-
that's what
They
he
just talked about. So he's in that Bohemian Rhapsody movie.
Yeah.
Oh, have you seen it?
Uh,
Oh, it looks
I
awesome.
love Queen, yeah.
Oh,
But
me too.
so he's in that. So obviously everybody connected it back to Wayne's World, and that's literally the first time I ever heard Queen was Bohemian Rhapsody in
Yeah.
Wayne's World.
Yeah, that makes.
Anyway, it talks about how like that was the one thing it's like his first movie ever. He goes into the executives and they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to use Bohemian Rhapsody," and he's like, "You're going to use Bohemian Rhapsody, or we're not doing this movie." And they're like, "You don't have leverage." Mike Myers like, "You don't have leverage."
You're not a person.
But Lauren Michaels was like, "Yeah, fine, whatever," because that was the song. Him and his brother growing up in Canada, that they would do that exact thing all the time, and they would separate the different parts.
They were going to do
It's
they
so
wanted
good.
to do
It's
like,
a cool story. Yeah,
It's iconic.
it was going to be
It
like
really
Guns N' Roses.
yeah, it was gonna be
Oh, that would have
Welcome to the Jungle. or something.
Yeah.
that would have been
Suck. It
Not
would
yeah.
suck. They thought it'd be more relevant. All right, let's do this. Sorry. I've got all the stories. I watched basketball.
They thought it'd be benevolent.
I thought to be benevolent.
Yeah, you did it, man. You're on it now.
All
Because
right.
you got to think it like you're reading it.
Yep.
That's how most reading is.
All right, here we go.
Hello, I'm Alex Aurelius. I'm not the means and beef. I'm down to dunk. I'm Steven Adams. I'm not left and paid. I'm down to dunk. There is BT. I'm down to dunk. I'm about to dunk.
Good morning and welcome to episode 606 of Down to Dunk. You can find us on CLNS Media, DailyThunder.com, radio, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday, Wednesday, it's Friday, or of course, anywhere you subscribe to your podcast. I am Luke. Joined this morning by Andrew
Slam through.
and Jay.
It's Jay.
What's up, dudes? Hey, Dunkers. Hey, Dunker listeners.
Hey.
Dunkaroos is a
Just
pretty
in
easy one.
time for the holidays, going up on our big cartel today. Down to Dunk hats. We've been working on this for a little bit. They're those cool little rope hats. You know what we're talking about?
Nope.
Do they have a rope on them?
They do. They don't. In the picture, they don't. But they do.
Okay, I didn't know.
It's a
awfully
rope
confusing.
hat. It's a rope hat.
Okay, so if you know what rope hats are,
It's kind of like a flap, but not really. But it has a little piece of rope. Really cool. Really cool. You'll look good in them. We're having them in black and white.
Oh, really?
You can,
oh,
I didn't know that.
black and white.
This
Those
is new
both
info.
will be
are they
up.
pre-order only?
They are pre-order only.
Okay.
They're gonna
Clarify
be.
for 'em.
Okay, you got to go onto our Big Cartel. You can get to it from our Twitter account. Click on it. Go there.
Yep.
If you want the black hat, pre-order the black hat. If you want the white hat, pre-order the white hat. If you want both, pre-order both. And then we will ship them out to you, and you will look cool.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, Alex. I'm also assuming that there's still a few shirts available on our Big Cartel.
I
So,
believe so.
you want the perfect stocking stuffer?
Oh,
Get yourself
yeah.
down to baseball. Yeah.
It's gonna look good, and you won't be disappointed. I've been working with our sponsor, Oklahoma Shirt Company, and they're gonna look good.
They're great. They're
We're
good and
doing
great.
some holiday shirts with Oklahoma Shirt Company as well for my work. So
Could buy those.
they're awesome. You can buy one of those. It's very, very specific.
So the Thunder have won 9 of 10, and how much fun was that game against the Knicks?
Hold on. I actually have a question to help us evaluate that.
Please.
The first question here is from @MLynch115. I'm having more fun than last year. Would you agree, Andrew?
It is so much more fun.
It is fun.
I mean, that game it's not only fun for us, it's obviously very fun for the players as well. Paul George scored 35 points in 3 quarters, destroyed the Knicks. Those are just things that they didn't do last season.
No.
Where they just, I mean, can you imagine last season without Russ, without Robertson, them smashing a team? Any team, I don't care who it is. I don't care if you somehow got a time machine and brought back the 2013 Bobcats. That Thunder team would not have killed them.
No, it felt like every game against teams like that was always a struggle. I think that I have so many thoughts on what's going on with this team.
So many thoughts.
I got so many thoughts. I think the biggest surprise or the biggest encouragement for all of this is how engaged they can stay defensively.
Yeah.
Because that was the difference last year. It was like they could score relatively well. It was still kind of discombobulated from time to time, but their defense just fell off a cliff when Dre left. And it doesn't feel like their defense is really good. Like second in defensive rating in the NBA. I think another one had it possibly. Oh, no, that's right. So this is from you, actually. If you take out the first 4 games of the season, they're actually number 1 in defense at 101.6.
Yeah.
But you can't do that. But it just kind of gives you a frame of
Actually, you
reference.
can.
Right, yeah.
can. He just did.
But it gives you a frame of reference as far as the last 10 games. Like, they played really well. The only down one they had was that Dallas game, and they just couldn't hit. And J.J. Barea went nuts, and Ray Felton still exists. And so it's a combination of all of these things where it's like this team is playing really well. But I said this, and I want you to tell me if I'm crazy. So I love to speak in hyperbole, right? Like the most extremes is how I exist in my dialogue, I guess. But is this the best passing Thunder team they've ever had? I just you have to go back to 2012, right? Like those James Harden years.
You'd have to have James Harden, Russ, and Kevin on the
Because
same
Nick
team.
Collison was also on that team, and he was an incredible passer.
Yeah, I mean, that could be it. But having Schroeder and Paul George, and also you throw in Steven Adams into that mix, and then when you bring back Russell's the best passer on the team. But yeah, I think it very well could be. I think that this is the first roster that is willing to share the ball out of like a system and out of what the coach is asking them to do. I think there are nights where in the past where Thunder teams have really shared the ball well, but I'm not sure that it was exactly what was supposed to be executed. But I think they're playing Billy ball. I mean, they just really are. They're trying to spread the floor. They're trying to play fast. They're trying to move the ball. Is the ball movement, player movement stuff that Billy has been talking about since he's been here that we're just like, we're not seeing it. Why aren't we seeing it? We're finally seeing it.
Yeah, they are flying in the fast break.
Yeah.
Like every time that ball comes down, they're pushing it.
When anybody gets the ball, their head looks up and they're ready to throw to somebody down court.
And I wonder, Kevin Love has made not a career, obviously he does a lot of other things, but one of the things he does really, really well is he's always looking for that long ball to start the outlet pass, right?
Yeah.
Like, I think Steven has the ability to do that.
And he did it the other night.
So that pass, my favorite play. So here's why I say that my favorite I think the best passing team is there was a stretch in the third quarter where every play, I thought for a second it looked like the Harlem Globetrotters.
Well, nobody dribbled.
Yeah, like ball was just flying all over the place. It looked a little bit Warriors-esque in the sense that in two reasons. So number one is like the ball was flying. It didn't stop, didn't hit the ground, it kept moving. The second part of it is they also got way too relaxed with it and started turning the ball over like crazy because everybody's trying to make the extra pass and making the pass behind the back, and because it was working. Like it was flying.
And the passing became fun for them.
Yeah, it really was a blast. And so 3 plays stood out to me. I think they probably stood out to everybody. Number one, my favorite play of the game is not any of the ones that you would see like people freaking out about. That Steven Adams high-low backdoor kind of cut
bounce pass
to Patterson.
That's good.
I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen Steven Adams make that play.
I know.
It was beautiful.
Well, and he's very capable.
Very.
He had 5 assists that night.
He has the potential to be a better facilitator than he has been so far, right? So he's so much he's a facilitator in other ways, just not with his passing, right? Like he works hard to get everybody else shots and
screens and things like that. I mean, I said this the other night on Thunder After Dark. I just think that if he had the ball more, we would talk about him in the same way we talk about Al Horford, the same way people talked about Andrew Bogut as passers.
Right.
Because I think he's in that class, but he just doesn't have the ball enough. But and this is what is a little frustrating to me, is that the second unit should run through him. They should pull him early and then let him operate at the high post or the low post.
Well, especially when Felton's.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Whenever with Russ out, they should do that or have it run through Paul George or somebody else. I mean, that's what's maddening about Felton. Not only is he just not very good anymore, but he's the one who feels like he's the engine of the offense. And I don't work.
Yeah. It don't work. So that was one play. The second play was obviously Schroeder behind the back to Paul George cutting through the middle, and he just dunked on the universe.
Yeah.
But the play that I thought I just was like, holy crap, was that long pass from Adams to Patterson, who threw the alley-oop to Paul George.
Yeah.
And the way Paul George landed, you're like, he's got an adductor strain.
Are you okay?
Yeah, it really was like, oh gosh.
He's like, I haven't jumped that high.
He did too. Absolutely, man, trying to get up there. I don't know, man. That was a blast. Like the Knicks game was the most fun I've had watching the Thunder in a really, really long time. No season's been fun.
Yeah.
I've determined that the best way for me to figure out if our Thunder season is fun, it's by going to the Thunder subreddit and watching it like for a while there. And it's actually pretty fun right now.
Yeah.
Because they had a thing before we had lost to Dallas. Their dream was to get to where our team was at 10-4 so they can make a bunch of 10-4 good buddy memes.
Yeah.
Like that was what they were all hoping for. And like I went to, because I was looking at it even yesterday, I was looking at it, it's like, all the conversations are good. They're funny. The memes are good and fire.
A lot of high energy over there.
And then I went over to the Rockets subreddit, and there's a petition to turn it into a subreddit about actual Rockets.
That's changing though.
And post pictures about Rockets.
Rockets are probably a five game streak.
They looked really good last night.
They smashed the weird Warriors.
Oh, it was so good to see.
I didn't even watch it.
I did. It was very fun. Draymond Green did not score a basket. Did you not know that?
No.
0 points.
I have another stat though from that. It's kind of my say what stat of the week.
Let's go ahead and say what stat of the week it.
What? Stat of the week. For the first time since like November 1st, 2016.
Yeah.
Neither Klay Thompson nor Kevin Durant scored a 3-point bucket.
Well, that's exciting.
Isn't that crazy?
I love to hear that.
I mean, November 2016 was like the first 2 weeks of the season, the first time Kevin Durant was there.
That's just weird.
Yeah, neither one of them scored a 3-point shot.
That's very exciting.
Via ESPN stats and info.
That's crazy. The Jazz lost by 50.
It's the second worst loss in the Jazz history and the second best win in the Mavs history.
They scored 22 points in the second half.
68 total points.
22
in
the second half.
So I was listening to the Low Post with Beck.
Yeah.
What up, Beck?
I can't bring myself to even like Howard Beck even a little bit.
I can't make myself to not be annoyed every time they say "What up, Beck."
It's cringy. It's not
it's
cool.
cringy. No,
It's
is most definitely.
It is not
cringy.
cool. It's so forced.
Yes.
I love Zach Lowe. He's my
best.
favorite. It's
He's
my
the
favorite
best in the game.
podcast. It's easily my favorite NBA podcast. But
No, it's not a Thunder podcast because he never talks about the Thunder.
no, but that was
He talked about Jeremy Grant for like
a second.
last night.
It was very, but yeah, I'm with you.
It
That's
makes me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So anyway, they were talking about. I don't even know what I was talking about. The
the
Warriors.
Jazz.
Oh, he's talking about the Jazz. So this is one of the questions that gets me back to what I wanted to say. Like, is there a more surprising team in the NBA than the way the Jazz have played?
That they've just been blocked.
Yeah, not very good on defense.
Yeah, they're like 19th
Yeah.
in defensive rating. Yeah, it's surprising to me because of how well they played at the end of the season. But also, every single player was playing at their peak at the exact same time.
Yeah,
Like Ricky Rubio has come crashing down
right.
from his shooting that he had in the playoffs last year. Donovan Mitchell's about the same player that he
Yeah.
was.
He did not take much of a leap, and he's been hurt. I know he's been hurt.
Yeah.
kind of off and on most of the season.
Yeah, it's but
Bears trying to figure out who he is in this kind of.
well, the new defensive rules, and David Locked does a good job of covering the team. And he has Locked on Jazz I listen to, and he has talked a lot about how these new defensive rules favor athleticism, and the Jazz just aren't a very athletic team. You know, they're kind of grit and grind, similar to what the Grizzlies were back in the day. I mean, they're gonna pull you, they're gonna push you, they're gonna tug, and you can't do that stuff anymore.
No,
And so
they've had to adjust, and when they adjust, they like the Thunder adjusted, and they're athletic enough to still just like be frenzies.
they figured out how to not foul. They figured out how to what the defensive system was. You know, their defense has been great because they just communicate. The Thunder do. I mean, they're either fighting over a screen or they're calling for the switch ahead of time, and the communication has been crisp, and so has their defense. And they're not switching everything like the Rockets do. I mean, the Rockets switch just automatically. Like, that's just what they're going to do. They don't even communicate it. They just do it.
And they do that because they recognize they have to do that for the Warriors, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you.
I mean,
That's what Mike D'Antoni, because he said that on the World Post podcast that he was on. It's
mhm.
the only way you're going to beat the Warriors is if you switch.
Yeah.
And you can't really beat them anyway, but the only way you're going to do it is if you switch every screen.
Yeah, but you have to have the personnel.
Right. Which is why which is why Melo doesn't belong to that team.
That's why he's gone.
He's gone.
Um,
He's gone.
I mean, that's sad.
He's going to go play in Puerto Rico.
Isn't that is so weird? I don't know who paid Woj or who is pushing that on Woj to tweet that out, but it's kind of insulting to Melo. Like, hey Melo, we don't think that anybody else would want you to play for them. Why don't you come play for the Puerto Rico national team? Because you'll never play for the Team USA again. You may never play in the NBA again. How about us?
He's going to land somewhere, surely, right?
yes. There has to be a low team
Heat, Lakers.
Lakers have already said no from what
Did
I've
they?
heard, from what people have said.
that you gotta think.
Somebody put some.
Oh my goodness.
I think the Heat are an option.
Are they? I
It
mean,
has to be. It's a team that's not trying to win.
Chicago.
A team that's trying to
Cavs.
yeah.
He would,
Cavs.
so I did read that
Perfect.
somewhere.
but why
It's
would
like-
you want him?
Because he
So
can,
that you
he can
lose.
captain your ship
Yeah.
for Zion Williamson.
Zion
right?
Williamson.
Like,
You gotta do as
which
terrible.
is funny.
possible.
Zion may not even be like most early projections for drafts. He's not even the number one.
He's not
Isn't that
number
crazy?
one, yeah.
He's like number 3.
There's a lot of
Barrett's number 1,
there's a
right?
lot.
RJ Barrett.
Which
Yeah.
he,
I would say
like
like
the Duke team. Jeez Louise.
It's freaking
I don't
so
like
good.
college basketball, but anytime the
They're
Duke's on,
so
I'll watch
fun.
that.
They're so
awesome.
fun.
if you're the New York Knicks, bring Melo back.
Oh my gosh.
Homecoming, put him on a minimum, have him play every game as much as he do whatever he wants, be the worst team in the league, and get the number 1 pick next year.
Well, the Knicks aren't having any trouble losing games right
No,
now.
they're fine.
I know, but when you get to have Melo back,
You act like that's a challenge to lose games. I don't know. I just don't know where it's worth it because and is Melo willing to go to a tanking team and be the face of a tanking team? Is that what you want to do if you're Melo? I think he wants to win still.
Yeah,
And that's-
why there's no trade clause. Like
Right.
he wanted to win.
He wanted to win to come
Why
to
was he
OKC.
Rockets? He has a choice to go somewhere else. This
He
summer.
wants to win, And maybe a team like Orlando would call for him and say, hey, you want to come play for us? But I don't know that he would say yes. I mean, he's had to swallow his pride so many times up until this point.
That would be like the final nail.
To come to OKC to waive his no trade clause, to be waived by Atlanta, to be traded to Atlanta, to be waived by Atlanta, to go to the Rockets, to be benched. He had to really swallow his pride. And now he's been cut again. He's been cut twice by 2 teams, basically.
Now,
in less than a calendar year.
Here's my question: he's still on the Rockets roster?
No, he's not anymore.
So he's not. He was cut. He has been cut.
He was waived yesterday. He was waived.
Man,
somebody said I think it was Low or it was the Basketball Collective or whatever that.
The Hoop Collective.
Yeah, which is not like
you never.
I don't know any of these podcasts, but they're talking about, and I can't remember the exact stat, and so I'm going to butcher it a little bit. But there's some statistics about his minutes. For being 15 years in the league, like he played a ton of minutes over his career. Like his body is beat up. Not that he was ever athletic enough to really play probably in today's NBA defensively.
He just never took care of himself. I mean, you look at LeBron, like he's never taken care of himself like LeBron.
Yeah,
does.
and the bad comp. Yeah. Like LeBron's the bad comp for everybody, right? Like
for anyone that's ever existed.
The greatest athlete that's ever played sports.
Yeah, no matter what you're doing.
Him and Usain Bolt.
It's a terrible comp for me.
But he has a lot of like miles.
Oh yeah, tons of miles on a body that hasn't been taken care of, and that's kind of my life right now. That's why I can't walk.
I can.
The difference is he's an NBA athlete.
I'm a great comp for Melo in that department.
Yeah, me and him very similar.
But it is sad for him.
Yeah,
you gotta feel sad.
It doesn't make me excited for him, you know. Like
no,
it's just wild. Like there's no way that I saw like, oh, he's on the Rockets, like he's going to be there. It's like, oh, this is going to last until November 15th.
Well,
I don't think anybody thought that. I mean, everybody thought maybe he'd play better.
Well, I'm saying no one would have said like he's going to be there a month.
Oh yeah, no one would. No, nobody thought. I mean, the only person that I heard say anything like that was Fred Katz. Fred was, the minute he signed with them, he said, "This will not work. It is not going to last."
That's
crazy. He said he will get cut. It's the only person I heard say that.
And all the people that are like, oh, they're going to use him so much better than Oklahoma City. Like, hey, all you.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough media fans that are deep enough into the Daryl Morey potion that they believe anything he does works. It's all of a sudden this rookie they got that I guess they're like, oh my God, I want to draft still by Daryl Morey. It's like, just ignore all the other crap moves of the last. That's the only reason I don't like this Rockets team now. Oh, Chris Paul and James Harden.
Looks like there's a lot of reasons.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons. Hey, you remember the time I used to always clamor for Oklahoma City to get PJ Tucker? You remember that?
Yeah.
I've wanted him since he was in Arizona or Phoenix, Arizona.
That one he was technically.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah, you were right about that. He's good.
He's great.
You know what?
A perfect player with KD, Russ back in the day.
He and Melo are the same age.
Hey.
Yeah, he's played probably a quarter of the minutes that Melo did.
Maybe not even that. Okay, so stat. Dennis Schroeder, Terrence Ferguson, Paul George, Jeremy Grant, Steven Adams, the current starting lineup without Russell, a plus 27.1 on the season in 236 possessions.
Hey, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. And then the same starting lineup, you insert Russell, plus 24.8. Like, they're playing really well. And a part of it is like
Jeremy Grant.
Jeremy Grant has been so good. And
so good.
I mean, the turnaround that Grant and Ferguson had from the first 4 games to the last 10.
Almost the exact same time, right?
Has been incredible. They've both been so good defensively. They're both hitting shots at least at a decent enough rate to where you have to at least think about them. They're just fitting in so well into those roles, no matter who the point guard is, which is nice. And really, in Steven Adams as well. I mean, all the starters, I feel like you feel very comfortable with all of them. And last season, that just wasn't the case.
No, Jeremy Grant was 3 of 5 from the 3-point line against the Knicks. He was 1 of 2 from the Suns, and so only shooting when he's needed. Yeah. He's been phenomenal.
Yeah, you take out those first 4 games, he's shooting 40% from 3 on the season.
Yeah, he's already shooting. I mean, even with those first 4 games, isn't he shooting somewhere in the 30s?
He's 35%.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's the number where you're like, okay, you're gonna have to look at Jeremy Grant, other team on the other side of the ball.
No, was he inserted into the starting lineup after game 4?
It was game 4 against Boston.
Okay. So really with him, they've lost 2 games in the starting lineup. First one was the one where it was his first game started.
Yeah. Which is weird because it's not an intuitive start for him because everybody thought that it would be Patrick Patterson. He shoots the ball better. He moves the ball better. He's still a pretty good defender. And I think that for whatever reason, you saw every weakness that Patrick Patterson has when he was with the starters. He's not the greatest defender. He is not a good rebounder. You saw that every night from him when he played. And then when you switch it, it's like, oh, somehow
they're both working better in their units.
Right. Somehow both their weaknesses were accentuated with the roles they had before, and then you switch them, and it's like, oh, well, now like both those guys are pretty good.
Well, I think the other thing is you do have Grant is a much better rim protector, obviously, than Patrick Patterson.
Yeah.
And he's also a better rim protector than Steve is. And so the combination of Steve and Jeremy as your front court, like you can actually protect the rim in that instance. And you could not do that with Patterson and him, obviously.
No.
Grant has been incredible. Ferguson has really settled in ever since we said that he should quit playing basketball. And I don't know, man, this team is good.
They're really good.
And to think about the fact that, like, when Russ comes back, like, Intruder moves to your bench.
You have 10 guys that you're super comfortable with.
Yes.
All of them.
Yeah.
I don't think that any combination of them you'd be like, oh, I wish that Billy wouldn't do that.
Man.
And it's a credit to the front office. It's a credit to Billy for the development of guys like Terrence Ferguson. Because, I mean, he could have easily done what we said he should have done and just and benched him, and you may have lost him. But his turnaround mentally has been huge for this team.
Yeah.
Because he can defend almost everybody on the perimeter.
And that is, like Billy Donovan, that's Russell Westbrook. Like, it's all these guys just really pointing into. I'll tell you, the underrated part of this last run, too, is Steven Adams has figured out to be Steven Adams again.
He's amazing.
He's
better. He's better than. This is the best version of him ever.
He was so good in that Knicks game where I joked, and like I said, hyperbole is how I speak. And so I was like, Steven Adams just become the best center in the entire game. He was so good.
How much did you love him against Cantor? First of all, Cantor comes over and tries to pat him, and he just slaps his hand away.
My favorite thing is how many people. Just friends of mine and different people on our Twitter, it's like genuinely worried about their relationship.
Right.
It's like
no.
Ennis and Steve, are they okay?
I love that he's yelling at Fizdale. Take him out. Get him out of the game.
He can't play defense. That's great.
He kept yelling to Schroeder anytime that Ennis was on the floor. Pick and roll.
Pick and roll.
Pick and roll.
And
pick and roll.
He wanted to get him out of the game for genuine concern for Cantor's life.
But he was also, I don't know the name of the kid that plays. I guess I can look it up. It's right here in front of me. But that kid that started for them, Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
Didn't stand a chance against Steve.
No, and that's so fun. Because Mitchell Robinson's he's okay.
He's had games where he's been really good.
Yeah. But Adams just takes all these young guys to school. And it's really fun to watch because it's just been fun to watch him evolve over the years because he's such a physical force. There's really not many guys in the league that can really guard him.
Well, you and Alex said it, watching him against Ayton is the first time where I was like, Ayton may not be very good.
Right.
Steven,
he was chopping
is number one,
it was so much
a
fun.
foot wider than him.
Yeah.
Which you thought Ayton was ginormous. And then Steve gets next to him okay, he looks like Mo Bamba,
right. He looks so skinny.
But Ayton just doesn't know how to handle Steven Adams.
Yeah. Big guys don't know how to play defense when they come to the league.
Absolutely. But the other thing is what Steve does that's beyond just the physicality of his game is he is mentally so elite.
It seems like the game has slowed down for him so much more, even from last year. Because remember how much he turned the ball over in the post? And after an offensive rebound, he would often just be looking around everywhere, and if someone would eventually slap the ball away. You don't see that happening with him.
I wonder if that 14-second shot clock reset changed that too, where there's a little hey, dude, make a decision, move it quick.
I think that you just have to have more of a plan.
Right.
And maybe that's a part of that is grab the ball, and here's your 3 options. Go through them quickly in your head, decide what you're going to do, and go.
And he's still, what is he, 26?
Yeah.
He's still young enough where he's not even fully kind of who he is.
Right.
He did have also one of my favorite plays of the game whenever he lost the ball on that turnover, which was a horrible pass. And I think it was Alonzo Trier.
25.
Was Alonzo Trier?
Alonzo Trier, yeah.
I can't remember who it was, but the ball went out of bounds and Steven was fighting for it. Instead, he just hugged his.
He just grabbed on.
He hugged his ankle and put his head up against his leg.
That was so funny.
Yeah.
We got to see a lot of my guy, Deontay Burton, that night too.
Dude, give me Burton minutes, man. You
I
know
like
who'd rather run a point guard than Ray Felton? Burton.
Anybody?
Here's what I'm saying about Burton. Burton is offensively okay on the floor. Like, he forces stuff a little too much, but when you're running those junk minutes, like,
Yeah, in garbage time that doesn't matter. But like, if he tried to do that in a meaningful game where there's a play where he tried to go at the rim and ended up just throwing it pretty hard off the hand of a Knick player.
yeah.
Like, it almost wasn't a block. It was like
You just threw that to him.
he like gave him a block. It was weird.
Yeah, and so there's a few where it's like he drove when he shouldn't have driven. He drove when he shouldn't have gone to the basket.
Yeah.
There were different times like that when he would do stuff where you're like,
Yeah.
you gotta pass the ball, you
Okay.
gotta get rid of it.
Right.
But then at the same time, like, it's pretty clear he can shoot.
He hit a three. He's 50% on corner threes. Oh, here's Taylor telling us that he's so sorry because he's been sleeping.
But Burton, I don't know, man. He can play, honestly.
Yeah, he can play.
I think the thing that makes me the most excited about Burton, and he just has to figure out how to do it a little bit better, but he is the guy that can be, speaking of PJ Tucker, your PJ Tucker-esque kind of guy. He can guard multiple positions,
Mhm.
but he just isn't there yet.
He's got that body type. He's got that skill set. But yeah, I mean, he's a ways away.
He's a ways away. Like, you can see it's pretty clear that he defensively just isn't there yet. As far as communication, as far as
And he may never be there
You don't know. Yeah, and he's on a 2-way contract.
Hey,
for a reason.
guys, you know where you need to be?
Where?
Anthem's Tap Room. Anthem, that's a company that sells the delicious drink we all know and love, beer. And
They
they're-
do.
And they're good.
If you didn't know,
If you didn't know, we're a big fan of Anthem.
they're not bad. They're good.
They're not bad. They're good. They make a drink that you like to drink if you're over 21. It's called beer. And they make some pretty delicious beers. And they have a tap room where you can go and drink those beers where they make them. And you're not going to have a fresher beer than where it's made.
It's true. You can see where it was made.
Where it was made. And then you can see it in your glass and put it in your body.
It's true.
And they are great. I was just at the liquor store yesterday picking up some Anthems. Right now, we're deep in Ouroboros season for me. I love Ouroboros. Their Ogletoberfest, if you've got probably a few more weeks to pick that up. That's their seasonal Oktoberfest.
Won't be much longer.
Won't be much longer. Gotta get it. I'm sure you can find a few more of those at your local liquor store. However, the tried and trues, Golden One, Arjuna, their IPA, OK Pills, they're all going to be there, and they are all great. Swing by their tap room, and you can get exclusive mixes of some of their drinks. Whenever you go to the tap room, at least have a tester of the exclusive ones they have there, where they mix things with different flavors. They're trying different flavors. They're mixing things in different, wine barrels or
Brandy
bourbon
barrels,
bourbon barrels. They give things a different texture, different taste,
barrels,
a different alcohol content, and they're very, very good. I always make sure that's the first thing I do when I get to the tap room is try one of those, and you should too.
You get a little taster.
You can get a little taster. You say, hey, that sounds interesting, but I don't know if I want a whole thing. I want a little taster.
Right now you can get their Ride or Die IPA.
Oh,
It was just released yesterday, and it's a double IPA, and it's one of my favorites. It has the coolest can.
It does have a cool can.
You got to go get that. You can go get it today.
Today.
It's delicious.
It is very,
Support the
very
people
good.
that support us.
Absolute.
Get yourself an Anthem beer.
Hey, let's ask some Twitter questions. All right, our first Twitter question comes from @the tweets of Todd, who says, "Is this the most chemistry, top to bottom, the Thunder have ever had?"
Oh boy, that's a tough one. I'm gonna say no, because that 2013 Thunder team just rolled over the NBA that entire season, where it was the post-Harden team with Kevin Martin coming off the bench and Reggie, who's really coming into his own. That team had incredible chemistry, and they had the best point differential in the league that year. I think the best point differential in Thunder history. So I'm gonna I'm gonna give it to them, but it's possible that this team could reach that height if they can play like this for an entire season, and you get Russell in that's bought in. Then I think it's very possible.
But what does it say to you that you're comparing that team that was so good to this team when this team has played 15 games?
Yeah, it says a lot about where this team is at mentally and where they are cohesion-wise. Like, continuity matters so much in the NBA.
Yeah.
And that's something that I think is underplayed to a large degree because we love player movement in the offseason so much that we want to see guys move on. Like, things get stagnant and stale so fast on the internet and on Twitter that people are ready for things to move on whenever really sometimes teams might need a little bit more time. And so it's nice to see that this team has that continuity, and they will for the next few years. And if, in 2 years, this should still be the same core, relatively similar team. I mean, the chemistry could just build and build and build on itself as long as this team can stay healthy. We could have the best chemistry ever. But I can't say today that they're there. But let's check back in February, especially after they play some better teams. And if they can continue to play this way against good teams, it's nice. I think you can definitely – some people want to take nothing away from what the Thunder have done to these bad teams, but I take everything away because it is not something they did last year. This is a different team.
Yeah.
It's visibly a different team. You don't have to look at any of the stats. You can just watch them and say, wow, like this is a different Thunder team. And so it's exciting, and I think that they're moving in that direction to be one of the better chemistry-laden Thunder teams ever.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that you see with this team is it makes you realize how awkward the roster was last year.
How forced it felt.
Especially the year before, right? Where you have – this is one of the first teams with the Thunder where I felt like you do have 10 – like we just talked about, 10 players that can play.
You're not having
feel
to
comfortable with it, right?
Yeah.
Confident with it.
You're not forcing a Ferguson. You're not forcing
Hustis,
Josh Hustis. I mean, it doesn't. Nothing about it is
you
awkward.
aren't forcing a Melo.
You're not forcing Carmelo out
So
there.
I think that's why the chemistry and it does. You probably mentioned this as well. Sorry to step out for a second, but all of that anxiety, this is Paul George is having a blast, and this is his team. I think we've talked about that a couple different times.
It's because after every game, they're not asking, "What are you doing next year? Where are you going next year?" And there's that constant question.
Well, and even they didn't really ask. They didn't ask Paul that a whole lot last year, but you read into what he said and how he played and what that meant for the future.
And if you don't think that matters, look at the Golden State Warriors.
Yes.
Right? If you don't think that stuff matters, look at the tension that's going on with the 3-time world champion, 2 in a row Golden State Warriors. That free agency conversation that is continuously hovering around the head of the Warriors is absolutely.
And you have, even if they don't say it, which they often say, they're not thinking about it, it is on the mind of all of their teammates all of the time. Because this thing that happened with Golden State is because Durant hasn't bought in and because Draymond is pissed about it.
Right.
And it's constantly in the back of his head. And when they had the first spark, it lit the fire and he lit into him.
I also think part of that, we'll have some chance to talk about the Warriors a little bit, but I think also part of that, I wonder, is if Draymond is just feeling the fact that he is not as good as he used to be.
He's not as good.
He's not.
Which is great.
There were 2 plays in a row last night when I was watching the Rockets game where he had back-to-back turnovers, and it was just you can just feel him realizing God, this is not as easy as it used to be.
You know what I was thinking? What I was thinking about?
Shoot.
He can't shoot. I mean, if he gets slower at all. So Draymond's biggest assets, right, is he is the most versatile defender in the entire league.
Yeah.
Also a brilliant basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
And then also a great passer. So those 3 things, which, most of those can survive the test of time. But, man, if you start slowing down, it's problematic. He's 29. I think he turns 30 next season. I don't know. It's just something to keep your eye on because he is the reason the Warriors became who they were. It's a combination of a lot of things, but Draymond is smack dab in the middle of all of that.
Oh yeah,
He changed the league as far as defensive ability. I mean, like
to play the center
looking for that
spot,
guy, right?
like
Yeah.
small ball center, can defend everybody, can initiate the offense. I mean, he should have multiple Defensive Player of the Year awards under his belt. Doesn't. I don't know if it's just because he's a butthead. I don't know.
People get bored, I guess.
Correction, real quick. So Carmelo wasn't waived. He hasn't been waived yet, but he is not rejoining the team.
So yeah, they're gonna let him like stay with the team until
Because he's still
He
on the
will
roster.
He'll remain on the roster, but will not rejoin the team. Sources say
That's
Anthony's
right.
wisest course of action will be exercising patience and allowing changes in league rosters through trades, injuries, team needs to create more playing options for him, which means nobody wants him. That's what that means.
That's an agent sending out an idea.
It's like, hey guys, if you make
There's
a trade,
plenty of options right now for Melo, but he's gonna wait.
if you make a 3-for-1 trade and you need somebody, let us know.
Right.
Or if you just don't like your roster, let us know. Crickets.
I hate that for Melo.
I mean, if he had a destination, he would have been waived.
Yeah.
If he had a place where, if like Portland wanted him, I think they would have waived him. Or
If
if
Portland doesn't want him,
no, I don't know who does.
nobody.
That I mean,
Not a
those
contender.
tweets from Woj, no, and that's what he wants. He wants to play for a
Yeah.
contender. He's been trying to do that. And
You want to come ride the bench for us?
yeah, do you want to
be
be
a locker room guy? Do
you
you want to
wanna-
be Ray Felton?
Do you want to be Tracy McGrady on the Spurs? Well, come on.
Wait till he goes to the Spurs, though.
What do you think about T-Mac telling him he should retire?
He should retire.
What do you think about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think T-Mac, knows that experience,
Yeah.
right? Like, I think when you hear these guys that like you should be. Who else? If it wasn't, I can't remember who it was on the jump, but somebody said like this should be your victory lap. You should tell the league that you're going to retire at the end of the year, and then just play and have fun until it's over.
Yeah, but nobody wants him to play for them.
Right, but
It's
somebody
the
was taking
challenge.
him. He could go find a roster spot. You just have to go play for a team that doesn't matter, right? Like a team that you just go and suck on. Like who cares?
Suck on that team.
Suck on that team.
I don't know. I just don't know that they do. If you're a young team that's developing, why would you want Melo? Like, tell me the
To
reasons.
lose.
No, that's not a good enough reason. You lose playing young players,
Sure.
and you develop those young players. Why would you want him on your team?
So I can see a Magic.
Why would the Magic? You're trying to develop Jonathan Isaac. You're trying to develop all these guys.
Melo puts people in seats.
Does he?
So one option.
Do-
Kind of.
I don't think-
For a team that's starved, maybe. Maybe.
Last season, yes. I don't think that's you're waived twice in a calendar year.
Yeah.
I don't think that exists anymore. Well, who's excited to go see a washed up Melo? I don't think anybody.
You know who?
You have Disney World in your backyard. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm not going to watch a washed up Melo.
You
Just
know
not doing it.
who is excited to see a washed up Melo?
Bulls?
Who?
The Chinese.
There's your washed up Melo
If
option.
he goes to China, he puts people in seats there.
Yes.
Yeah, but there is nothing.
He's not putting people in
than
seats
that.
in the United States
You're
again.
right. You're right.
But
He
that's
won't.
where they pay him a lot.
There's nothing more humiliating than having to go play in China for Melo.
I know.
That's crazy.
I'm just telling you. I thought that he would be waived by now, but to me that signals that, oh boy, like
If he wants to go be the king,
the Rockets are doing him a favor.
which is what he wants to be, go to China.
It might be
Seriously.
what to do.
Yeah, if he wants to be praised and to be Melo again, that's
He
about
will.
the only
He's
place he
going
can
to light
do
it
it.
up over there.
Just like Stephon Marbury did. When Marbury was done here, he went over there.
Didn't Allen Iverson go and play in Israel or something?
Yeah.
That's the career trajectory that is the most similar.
Yeah, he's Iverson. He's Marbury. That's who he is now. He'll be eating Vaseline on YouTube in no time.
Oh my God.
There you go. All right, and now let's move on to our next Twitter question. It comes from @013Condor, who says, it has been so long since Andre Robertson has played. He's starting to forget how great he was and hopefully still is on defense. Can we articulate the difference between his defense and what Ferg has been able to do so far this year? And when is his expected return to the court?
Yeah, he's got better length. He's got better I don't know that he's a better athlete than Ferg, but he's just a much smarter defender than Ferguson is. I mean, he can lock. I don't know that Ferg is the greatest like lockdown one-on-one defender, but Robertson is. I mean,
he's also big.
He's a lot bigger than Ferg is and can defend a wide variety of players. I think Ferguson is really limited to perimeter guys.
Yeah, ones, twos, some threes.
That's a stretch.
Really, yeah.
He's got the length to do that, but like Dre has the body to defend fours. Yeah. You could put him on Anthony Davis in theory as well. I don't know that Thunder would do that, but you could do that for stretches, and I think that he'd be okay. He's what makes like the Thunder switchy defense elite.
Yeah. Him and Adams are the center of that, right? Like,
yeah,
because Adams is one of the few centers that you can put in the pick and roll and not be horrified about.
Yeah. He's not always great, but he can at least hold his own.
And the thing you forget too with Dre is Dre makes up for the laziness. Or also, like, I think there's an argument to be made, like, gives people the permission to be lazy.
Yeah.
Like, like you see a little bit less laziness from the Thunder this year because they're not depending on Dre to cover up all of the shortcomings.
But last season without Dre, they still had the same thing. I think that the culture of that has changed.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any – I think Melo was lazy. And I think that –
I think Royce's article really spoke to that too. He wrote that article about Melo and how it's kind of laissez-faire attitude really impacted.
Stay mellow.
Yeah, stay mellow, bro.
Yeah, that impacted the locker room to a degree. And you just have to wonder if that same mentality was impacting the Rockets. And they were like, nope, we're not doing this.
Yes.
Like, you need to go. Because the way we're playing right now is not okay. Because that was the message that the Thunder gave over and over and over again after even bad losses. We're going to figure this out.
Watch us against the teams that are great, man.
I'm not worried about this. There was no sense of urgency, which I think at times is a good thing, to not be freaked out.
Like the first 4 games of this season, nobody's freaking out.
No, but I do. Well, I mean, Ferguson was freaking out, like literally.
But that was personal.
So,
yeah.
I don't know. That was. I mean, it was definitely because of the way he was playing on the court.
Yeah.
Which I think that's not a bad thing. Like a lot of times, like our human body and our brain tell us when things aren't going well and we need to make a change, right? And I don't think that was happening with the Thunder last year. They didn't. They believed that they could beat anybody at any time. I mean, Russell guaranteed a championship last season. I don't know if people remember that.
Yeah.
But
how I can keep Paul George here? Win a championship.
Yeah. And that
King? How about a 6-game loss in the first round?
How about just beating the Jazz? How about you do that first? Yeah. So what was the question?
I don't even remember this one. We were talking about
It's not how good
Dre.
is.
How good is Dre?
Dre
what does he bring that Ferguson does?
Yeah. No, he brings the ability to defend 1 through 4.
Yeah.
And I don't think that
When is he coming back?
I mean,
January?
Nobody knows. I mean, my guess has been I've been saying January, but he could be back late December.
So he's been it was 6 weeks. Pardon me. It's 6 weeks from
To be reevaluated
before the season started. So it's mid-December.
Yeah. I mean, his reevaluation point is
3 or 4
within
weeks away.
Yeah, within probably 4 weeks. So or 3 weeks. Yeah,
And
3
it
weeks.
It looks like he is. It looks like
Happy?
he is physically moving forward, right? Like
He's walking around.
But here's the crazy thing about the Thunder is the Thunder are going to be overly cautious with this, especially with
Because you can be.
the soft schedule, especially the fact that the team's playing well. Like it's the same thing you see with Russ. Like Russ could literally right now do a backflip out of the rafters and land without any problems on his ankle.
Yeah.
The Thunder
I mean,
are like,
he's like
we're not going to play.
his dancing on the sidelines
Yeah.
shows me everything
He's
I need
fine.
to know. Like I think that they can. This team, the way that they're playing, and you have Dennis Schroeder, it buys them time to where you don't have to rush anybody back. In fact, I think they're being overly cautious with Russell, and I think they'll continue to be overly cautious with Andre because he is so important to this team. And you watch them play against the Knicks, and you have to realize that 2 of the probably 4 most important players on the team weren't playing. One of them is your most important. And then, I mean, it's Russ, Paul George, Adams, and then really, I think Andre is next on that list as most important players on this team. I think that you forget that and how much of a leap this team could take with Dre out there because they were elite last season with Melo and with Josh Hustis and with a Terrence Ferguson that wasn't ready and with Raymond Felton playing the backup point guard
Right.
primarily. I mean, they were elite. And
Yeah,
then
they are already incredibly disruptive on defense. And to add Dre,
he allows, so I mean, I think one thing that we forget too is that he allows Paul George to even be more disruptive than he is now.
yeah, and to be
On the
a little
defensive end.
more. I mean, so Paul George is currently defending the best player on the opposite team most
Yeah.
of the time. Right?
Mhm.
Devin Booker, he was on a lot. Now they switch a lot and they move a lot.
And Ferg is taking that role
Yeah.
too.
And so, but to be able to, you can take a little bit of, I don't know, there's just something that always happens whenever the best player is guarding the best player, then you can't be fully who you're supposed to be on offense all
Right.
the time, right? So I think that's part of it. So just, I found the article. So Royce Young posted on October 4th that that Dre will miss at least an additional 2 months. And so that puts you at December, early December, until he's reevaluated.
Yeah.
And one thing he says, there may still be some time after that. So I just wouldn't even bank on it.
I just
Christmas,
like be conservative and,
New Year's.
and say January.
Yeah.
And if he comes back before then, which I think is very possible. I mean, I don't have any inside info. Nobody has any inside info on Dre's return.
Yeah.
But if he can come back, if I'm the Thunder, I let him practice at full strength for 2 weeks.
right. He's doing drills. Like one of the most recent videos is him doing drills.
Yeah.
In practice. No full contact yet.
Let him practice full contact for 2 weeks and then put him in the game.
Yep.
Because honestly, if you can maintain this level of defense, I mean, one, it just gives Terrence Ferguson and Diallo more experience when you need them. And then two, man, you think this team is a good defensive team now? They will be the number one defense, period.
Yep.
They will be. If you have a healthy Dre, this will be the best defense in the NBA, and it won't. I don't think it'll be close.
Man, Grant, Adams, Paul George, Robertson, and Russ.
I mean, that defensive lineup, that is the best defensive lineup in basketball, period, if they're all healthy. I mean, there's no question in my mind. Don't even try to bring any other team up because it just won't be the case.
The only person there that's a question mark is Russ.
Yeah.
Hey guys, let's move on to our next Twitter question. It's from @Echelon Copy,
It's good defense.
who says, apart from coming back and winning the franchise's first title, what can Kevin Durant do to save his legacy? Are there any other options for him, really?
There are so many weird murmurings about that Warriors team. And you listen to Zach Lowe or the Hoop Collective. And
I have a question.
Go ahead.
First. Okay, you know how a player talked to a media member and was like, with what Draymond said, it's broken. Kevin is for sure leaving.
Yeah.
Is there any chance that was anyone else than Kevin Durant? I think it was Kevin Durant that said that himself.
or Tony. But
Well,
No, because
it was
a
not-
player.
it
was a
wasn't-
player.
It wasn't Kevin because Kevin left. Kevin didn't talk to the media that night.
But you don't. But he could have had a phone call with one of them.
Iguodala.
It could have had a phone call with one of them.
I don't-
and said that.
I don't think that's the case.
I think it was him.
I don't think so. It was leaked what was said. Did you guys see
Yeah.
that? Where he
You're a
said,
B.
"You're a B."
Everybody knows you're a B.
He said, you know you're a B, and we don't need you,
Yeah.
and don't come back.
Dang, that's wild.
Everybody that's pro Warriors wants to sweep this under the rug.
No, they don't.
No.
Well, no. I'm hearing it, man. Well, I'm listening to the Hoop Collective. I mean, these things happen.
Well, I
think
mean,
it was something
okay,
that's
I'll
like
say this. The people that cover the Warriors are not sweeping this under the rug.
Yeah.
NBA Tonight guys or NBA TNT guys. Are just like, who cares? Like, they're still going to win. Dude, this is a big deal.
I think they will still win the title, but I do think
Maybe. Maybe.
Kevin Durant will leave.
There is more question to that today than there has been
Yeah,
in their 3 years of being here.
I mean, they're gonna get DeMarcus Cousins.
That doesn't help me out. I'm sorry. Like, let me see it first. If he's who he was, sure, yeah, great. But dude, you think that's the craziest thing is they're betting so hard on their culture because you're bringing in the most volatile guy in the NBA into a roster that's already having problems.
It's great.
Which is why they need Steph, man. Steph is the centerpiece of that team.
He's the Warriors.
He is the Warriors, without question, which is why
It's why he's traveling with the team. It's why he's on the bench, and it was just glorious to see them fall to a Rockets team that have been struggling so much last night.
yeah, and it's the reason that Kevin Durant will leave the Warriors because it is not his team.
So
He's going to leave,
how
Steph
does
gets
Kevin?
all the credit for this team.
and he should.
Now, KD, everybody knows KD is the reason they took another step.
Well, duh.
Obviously.
You add
Right?
the
Yeah,
second best
yeah.
player in the world to a 73-win team. I mean, that's why you don't have a legacy, Kevin Durant. That's why you don't have a fan base. It's because you joined a team that had a raging fan base already.
Yeah, and had the king of their fan base, right? Like
The only way he's getting a fan base back is one, go play for the Knicks. Then you will have a fan base because they don't have like who are they cheering for?
I think that's true.
Ennis.
Go to New York, Kevin, or come back to the Thunder.
Yeah, I just hate it because there's the Knicks. They're the worst. They're one of the top 3 or 4 worst owned franchises, which doesn't really bother me. But it's like,
or go play for the Nets.
I'd be better with that.
You will have I mean, who have they ever had to cheer for?
Yeah, nobody.
So-
Go to the Heat.
Ugh, that would be kind of gross.
Yeah. So what can he do? So answering that question, what can he do?
That's what he has to do. He has to leave,
Go
and he
play
needs
somewhere.
to go play
That's
for
not.
the Knicks, the Nets, or the Thunder. If he wants to be the golden boy again, he needs to go save a New York team, or he needs to come back to OKC. That's how he's going to do it. Because if he came back to OKC, and I mean, the cap mechanics are not easy, but it is
You basically
possible.
have to gut the whole team except for Paul George and Russ, right?
He would have to opt in to his deal. This is the only way it's happening. Well, there's 2 ways it happens. 1, he takes the mid-level and comes to the Thunder. That's not happening. 2, he opts into his deal. He tells the Warriors, either you trade with the Thunder, opting in, the Thunder trade, and Hamidou Diallo and whatever for Kevin Durant.
Here's the thing that I think
This is the only way that it happens.
I think that the way that he has to save his legacy, he has to go to one of these places and sign a long-term deal. His legacy, if he goes and just is signing 1-year deal with 1-year player options, he's never going to be part
See what Jared
of.
Jack said, by the way.
I did. He's already said that he wants
all the money.
He's going to go get
All the
money.
time and all the money.
Yeah.
Now Kevin Durant says a lot of things.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he wants minute to minute.
Well, that's what Zach Lowe said.
Yeah.
He said it's the craziest thing about Kevin Durant is that he doesn't know what he wants.
So wishy-washy.
So wishy-washy.
But
Jared Jack said last night in the middle of the Lakers game, or no, it was the middle of Warriors game maybe. He said, you all messed up really. Wait until you see LeBron, AD, and KD on the same team. I don't know how they would pull that off, but
KD signs in the offseason. They trade for AD.
which I don't know if the Pelicans are gonna anyway.
I mean, the Pelicans may pull a Minnesota and just be like, you know what? We're not trading him to the. Are you kidding me? Like, we're not trading to the Lakers. I don't care what your package is. I don't care what you give us because one, all those young guys for the Lakers, the shine is off.
Yeah.
None of them have played well this season.
Nobody's
I
super.
mean, Josh Hart is like the only guy that you're like, man, like he's really played up to what the
you
expectations
don't
were.
put a package together with Josh Hart to get.
You don't do that. No way. No way do you do that. You trade him to the Eastern Conference. You get
There's
massive
no
amounts of
question. If
draft
anybody's
picks.
going to trade for trade the Pelicans for Anthony Davis, it is the Celtics.
Right. The Celtics are going to
They've
put
been setting up for this.
right. He's not. Yes. Jared Jack,
Shut up.
just stop your tweets, man.
He was in the NBA last year. The NBA last year.
Yeah.
He knows that.
Him and Melo are about to go to China again.
All right, guys.
Big three.
Ooh. Yeah. The big 3. That's another.
We
Melo
got to get to
destination.
some fun questions
Yes.
for you, man. There's some
All right.
really good ones.
Next Twitter question comes from @Trey Witzel. Says he's going to be a dad. He needs some dad advice.
Congrats, Trey, by the way.
And he's
Congrats.
asking me for some dad advice. Makes a lot of sense. This is
Okay.
what you got to get into that. You got to get your dad palate ready. Get some dad foods: peanut brittle, Baby Ruths,
Ew.
things that dad. Diet Pepsi, dad food. You guys agree?
I don't eat any of those things, but I love that idea.
The-
Werther's.
Werther's.
You're just
No,
thinking
that's
in
granddad.
whole. Okay,
That's
sorry.
granddad food.
I do like. I don't like either of the last 2 things, but
You like Diet Pepsi?
no.
You love peanut brittle,
I
though.
love peanut brittle.
Hell yeah.
What
Good.
else? What other dad foods are there?
Really, just go to Ace Hardware and the stuff that's at the end of the aisle. That like right as you're checking out, all of that is dad food.
That's really good.
Yeah,
That's true.
it's all dad food.
When I think of dad food, I think of what my dad, his favorite like candy treat, orange slices.
Yeah.
That's a dad food.
Orange
Not-
slices are delish.
Not like real orange slices, but like the
The
candy.
candy
know.
orange slices.
My son likes those.
Oh, could be
They're
great
good.
dad.
He's gonna be an
He's-
awesome dad.
he's
dad
bad.
food.
He's destined to be a great dad.
That's what you got to do. That's it. And then you're halfway there.
Yeah.
All you need is a baby after that, and you're dad. Strap them in your papoose and go to Ace Hardware. And you're set, man.
That's how this works.
Yep. All right. Let's go to our next Twitter question. It comes from @BrooksD Walker, who wants to know, are chips an appropriate ingredient of a sandwich, or must they remain on the side?
Are apple fritter dad donuts? That's a dad donut.
It's a dad donut. It's a dad donut.
Yeah, I think so.
What's the dad ice cream flavor?
Bear claw.
Butter pecan.
Oh, bear claw.
That's
oh
what I've
my
always
goodness.
thought. Butter pecan is like.
Holy moly. So I had butter pecan from Andy's last night. So what they do is they take their
a
ice
whole
cream,
pecan tree.
the entire pecan tree,
Cut it up
shove it into the
blender.
blender. No, they take butterscotch and
Sweet
mix
Jesus.
it with like the creaminess of the custard before it's frozen, and then produce it, and then put these like candy pecans in, and it is unbelievable.
Guess where I'm going to lunch.
You can right now you can get a buy one get one free pint at Andy's,
Ooh.
and butter pecan
Oh.
is an option.
Guys, are chips inappropriate thing to put on a sandwich? I say yes.
I'll put some chips on the
They
side.
add a crunch that you can't get anywhere else.
What kind of chips are you putting on a sandwich?
Ruffles are great to put on a sandwich.
So here's the thing. Let me ask this question. Speaking of dad foods,
Sun chips?
Lay's, baked Lay's.
are original flavorings of anything just dad chips? So here's my thing about original. Number one, original Lay's go to hell.
What about for dipping?
The only reason you get original chips is the dip.
Yeah.
Yeah, you add the flavor.
They're all about the
But you don't dip Lay's. You dip Ruffles.
You dip Ruffles.
Ruffles are a little stronger. They got Ruffles.
Yeah, they can handle it.
Yeah.
There's no
Lay's is
danger of
just
breaking
like,
off.
Like you just literally put it in and they just shatter into a billion pieces.
Yeah.
And then you have to eat it with a spoon.
It's always the last bag in like that big
Yes.
that box that has all the different chips.
For our trunk or treat, we bought 8 billion bags of chips.
Yeah.
We have roughly 1 billion bags of Lay's left.
Right. Nobody picks the
Nobody
Lay's.
wants original.
People are going for the Doritos first.
100%.
What else is in there? Oh, Fritos. You gotta have some leftover Fritos.
We got a lot of leftover Fritos.
Oh, yeah.
I love Fritos.
Would you rather take Fritos or
Fritos.
Lay's?
Fritos?
Yeah.
Fritos.
I had a friend that smelled like Fritos in high school.
Let's move on.
Thanks
to
for
our
listening.
next- Let's move on to our next Twitter question. And it is from @MammothMiller.
This is just for Luke. We'll just step aside.
She wants to know, do you find the Bloody Mary bar concept to be lazy or cool AF? And I like the Bloody Mary bar.
It's interesting to pay top dollar, is what she says. It's
Yes.
interesting to pay top dollar for something. You just got so excited to answer the question. It's interesting to pay top dollar for something that you are making yourself. It's a given that you don't have to pay for the supplies, so why don't you take $8 from your left pocket, switch to the right pocket, and stay home?
Here's the thing.
It's a good
It's
idea.
a great question.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. Bloody Mary bar. Does she have the same problem with salad bars? Huh?
I mean, I do. I don't know.
Huh? Do you have the same problem with an ice cream bar? Huh? Those exist. A pickle bar. That's the thing. Here's the thing. They're just putting it out
bars are
there.
usually free.
They're putting it out there. The salad bars are not though. They're putting it out
Sure.
there, and you have to have a meal. They come with a meal. Anyway, they're putting it out there, and you can do what you want. Your spice level, you can cater it as what you want. You can put the garnishes in. They're great. I like them, and I do not respect this question nor this person.
Wow.
Hey, Mammoth Miller, I thought that was a great question.
Yeah.
And stay home. Okay, stay home, and you don't get any alcohol that way.
I think what she's saying is you can make it at home.
Yeah, but then you're going to spend more than $8 on the supplies, the alcohol, and everything else.
Yeah, but you can make, if you spent the $8, you could make so many more.
Yeah, but
True.
you're at a place where you can get really good food.
So for the price of 4 Bloody Marys, Bloody Marmars,
Yeah.
$24, about $1, $32, excuse
Yeah.
me. I mean, you can buy all the
Okay,
supplies and
then
have 12,
then why
15
go? Then why go anywhere ever? You could make food at your house for any restaurant.
That's
A chicken sandwich, you can make it at your house.
Yeah,
Why go out to eat or go anywhere?
this is what most of the rest of the world does, Luke.
that's literally the concept that I have taken to my own home.
Nope. Go out to eat, y'all. Get a drink. Okay.
I have great food at my house 6 nights a week, 7 nights a week.
You know what?
I'll answer this last one with absolute certainty if you want to read it.
It's from Am Jump Shot Potential sides at a barbecue.
Baked beans
Baked
and okra,
beans,
moved on.
okra, macaroni and cheese, corn, or chips and dip. You can only pick two. What do you get?
Beans and okra. The only potential other options, macaroni and cheese.
It's got to be real good.
I don't go okra.
Most mac and cheese from barbecue places is like, hey, I had this at school lunch.
Very soft noodles.
Yeah, weird.
Weirdly soft
Yeah.
noodles.
Hmm.
But there's some places that do make it good.
True.
And
Oh man,
I like okra.
you gotta go okra.
I'm not an okra.
You like grilled okra?
No.
You ever grill it?
No.
You should grill it.
No.
Change your life.
Yeah, you grill it while it's fried in bread. Like I'll take it after I fried it, throw it in.
So we grew okra in our backyard.
Oh, geez.
and grill
Grill
it
house
up.
on the prairie over there.
It's great.
No wonder you don't go spend $8 on the Bloody Mary.
Seriously.
You got okra in your backyard.
Pick my own
You
veggies.
put okra in Bloody Marys.
Yeah, and I do. Hey guys, I got one more question for you before I do ask it.
You thought about grilling that okra?
No.
It's
Before I put
good.
It, before I put it in
Stop
the Bloody
making
Mary,
fun of me.
guys, I got one more question for you before I ask it. I want to talk about Oklahoma Shirt Company. They are great to work with.
For real.
We for these hats we're making for Down to Dunk, I wanted them embroidered. I wanted to make sure that they were top
Embroidered.
quality,
Good them embroidered.
and they were great to work with. That means that Oklahoma Shirt Company, they don't just make shirts. They do.
No.
They got their Shirt of the Month Club. If you want a monthly shirt, $10 a month, they'll mail it straight to you. But if you want to make hats, if you want to make anything you want with your own personal logo, a design on it, they can do it. And they're
Your own
great to
face
work
on
with.
it.
Yeah.
Your face.
Really?
Yeah.
The other thing I will say about this, and this is one of the things people, because we got a lot of listeners that are outside of Oklahoma, they're going to hook you up.
Absolutely.
They will ship stuff. They will figure out a way to get it to you. If you are a part of a church or a nonprofit, they have special pricing for nonprofits and churches. They want to take care of your custom needs. If you are getting up and ready for Christmas, you want to do shirts for your organization. You want to do shirts for your family. You need to get on that right now.
It's true.
Get on it right now.
Do it.
Call them up. They will design something for you from scratch. They'll take a design idea that you have and make it a reality. And then they will get you shirts that are incredible quality from incredible people. OklahomaShirtCompany.com. They also have T-shirt of the month for $10 plus taxes and shipping. You get a themed Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, Missouri, or Arkansas shirt sent to your door.
Ideas from your head to your shirt. Oklahoma Shirt Company.
Boop, boop. Support those that support us. Guys, I have a final question. And it is this: are you miffed and are you peeved?
Luke, are you miffed?
I'm extremely peeved.
Wow.
It is this.
Wow.
The calls you get to where it's like saying, oh, this is from your credit card company. This
Oh,
is
yeah.
from the
Oh, my God.
The
IRS.
worst.
Automated calls that do that are the worst. Yesterday, I got 12 from
Really?
the same number.
Yeah.
And I had to go in and just block them. And I didn't know you could do that because I've never had one call me so much. Called them and said, hey, put me on a do not call list. And guess what? There are 4 more calls.
You know what they do
Oh, yeah.
that deceives you is, for me, it's all 405 area code, so Oklahoma area
This
code.
was
Yeah.
different.
And they're also the
Looks
first
just
three,
like
the
your
first
number.
3 numbers of my number.
It is the people that do that
It's illegal.
should be killed.
I agree.
They're the worst, and they make everyone's lives
You are
they make
raging.
everyone's lives worse.
I don't answer any calls that don't come from a number that I don't know anymore.
Yep. You should know that if you want to actually get a hold of me, and I don't know your number, you better leave a
Leave a
voicemail.
voicemail.
And I'm still probably not calling
Send
you
me
back,
a text.
for real.
If you want.
Text message me.
I answer.
People don't talk on the phone anymore.
I don't answer unless I know the number.
I answer.
Well, that's why you're so miffed, man.
I know, but I gotta answer.
Hello, this is Luke. What's going on? Let's chat.
Who needs me?
What's up? It's the Dale man.
It's Dale.
But they,
Dale man.
I wish. What's up? Telephone caller. It's Dale, man.
I'm Dale.
But they're so frustrating.
Who?
Callers. Those automated callers. And the other thing, sometimes if they're actually a live person,
Yeah.
and I actually do like to do this, if you keep them on and just waste their time
Oh yeah.
because they're horrible people and they deserve it. At the end, when they figure out that you're wasting their time, guess what they do?
Hang up on you.
No, they just cuss the living daylights out of you.
Some of them will. That's true.
They just cuss at
They
you
get so mad.
And guess what? They're the bad person,
Yeah.
and they're cussing at me.
Well, that's why they're the bad person. They're a bad person. Of course they do that.
But the cuss words are, I mean, they do brighten my day because they're so ingenuitive with their cussings, and it's great.
My favorite one is the one where they talk about your computer. Hey,
That's the one. They're the ones that cuss at you.
Yes,
they
yeah.
cuss at you.
I've experienced that before because I love to mess with them because
I
they
love
like
it.
call me like, hey, something about your Microsoft computer. I'm like, yeah, I don't have a computer. They're like, well, I was like, how did you know I had a computer? Because I just don't. I've never owned a computer.
Yeah, why would you guess that?
You know
How
what
do you know that?
you know what I do? I was like, okay, let me just turn it on, and then keep them on for 30 seconds. Like, hold on, it's booting up. And I
That's
turn
a
it,
good one.
and then they're like, we're from Windows, whatever. And they're like, go to this website, and it's not a Windows website. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, why aren't you guys using a Windows website? And then I start going, this sounds like a scam. Are you a scammer?
I don't have time to answer.
Oh,
But I haven't done that in a long time.
I do it
When I was unemployed, I
every
did that.
time. I love
No, it's just been much of my day.
I love it.
I answered every spam call.
Spam calls.
Are you
Spammers.
miffed? Are you miffed?
I'm just
Jay?
mad because I've said this to the guys before, but I've had allergy problems for roughly 2 straight weeks, and I just would rather. Sometimes it's like just burrow a drill into my head, and then let
What are you sneezing?
all of that out.
Are you sneezing or are you stuffed up?
Just kind of both, like runny nose,
Ugh.
sneezing some, just kind of stuffed up.
You know what you need? Are you taking medicine?
I take Zyrtec every single day.
Here's what you need
Forever.
to do. Here's what you need to do when it's bad.
Okay.
Switch to Claritin.
Ooh.
I switched, and guess what? I used so much Zyrtec, it stopped working. Switched to Claritin, and that the rest of my day I was like, oh, I feel great.
You know what I'm going to do today?
Taking some Claritin.
I
Yes.
can't even like not mumble. I mumble a lot anyway, but then it's like, you know, I'm gonna do today. Go get the Claritin.
You always,
No,
you always sound like you're
no,
saying
no.
Namanj the Elite so every time
Come
you
on, be let's get the Claritin.
No.
Do you have to pee, man?
You miffed?
I'm not. I'm feeling good. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Oh, I am miffed about Taylor not showing up.
Yeah, come on, Tayshawn.
It's not like we haven't been doing this for 7 years. Every Friday.
Oh, I forgot we're getting together at 6 a.m. You know what? Help me get out of my spam caller funk. I put up my Christmas tree last night.
I didn't hear anything you said.
I put up my Christmas tree.
Oh, nice.
And guess what? I don't have any ornaments on it. Oh my gosh. It looks like this.
Humans have 206 bones, while the average cat has about 244 bones. Sometimes it's the number of bones and muscles that makes a difference in how animal moves around.